You'll far outstrip anyone that isn't in the realm of heroes in those abilities. 600 CP level 100. You've hit the pinnacle. There is no higher level, not within Yggdrasil at least. As a player you have hit level 100, not exactly a surprise since most players had done that, and represent the absolute peak of personal power and ability. If you're a local then you're quite frankly a freak of nature and are probably seen as a god by any other locals that actually know what you're really capable of. Literally, by the way, the slain theocracy actually worships as gods a group of 6 level 100 players that appeared to them in the past, though virtually no one still alive outside the highest echelons of the theocracy itself actually knows that. All level 100 individuals possess high tier nullification defensive abilities. This means that individuals that aren't, at the very least, within the fabled realm of heroes will not even be able to hurt you, and even then they'd have to be a hero among heroes to manage it, and they'd still have to get past your normal defenses even if they manage that much. The only hope they'd normally have is if they possessed access to some magical artifact of sufficient power to get past your defenses. That said, the high tier nullification is an all-or-nothing ability. Either it works or it doesn't. Your physical and magical statistics are absolutely mind-boggling as far as the locals are concerned. Even magic casters, if they're level 100, will possess physical strength and defenses on par with a warrior that is only in the realm of heroes, and warriors can expect to be far, far beyond even that. Magic casters' actual magic power is enough that it could literally bring even the greatest human archmage to his knees in awe and shame at his own weakness were he to actually witness your true strength. Even warriors that only dabbled in magic would still be on par with magic casters in the realm of heroes at the very least. Drop-ins abilities, both physical and magical, outstrip everyone other than their level 100 peers by a tremendous degree. As a warrior you are capable of annihilating armies of tens of thousands of regular men on your own, and likely wouldn't even notice them. It would take legendary heroes or beasts to actually make you break your stride. You'll possess skills that will let you nullify certain damage types outright, perform swings of your weapon that can hit dozens of individuals at once with air pressure alone, and provide you with a myriad of defenses against magic casters that would seek to stymie you and prevent you from closing the distance. You are literally a one-man army killing machine. As a warrior you additionally possess super moves that can do things like grant temporary invulnerability to virtually anything, allow you to strike everything in your line of sight with a single powerful blow at the same time, or hit one opponent dozens of times with a single strike. As a magic caster you are capable of casting spells of every tier up to the 10th tier. This is a tier of magic that only a bare handful of people in the entire world even know exists, with most believing that 7th tier is as high as it gets. 10th tier magic is the stuff of legends, capable of healing armies or slaying them, resurrecting the dead en masse, permanent teleportation circles, buffing or debuffing entire armies, summoning forth creatures of legend as servitors, and so forth. As a magic caster you'll also be capable of overrank magic, also known as super DA magic, that exceeds even that. Singular spells that could slay 70,000 men in one go, and then also summon massively powerful eldritch nightmares under your command at the same time, destroying entire cities with rain that infects those it falls upon with an undead plague. Conjuring forth miles upon miles of enchanted forest that responds to your will and will empower you while you are within, or spells of similar such scale and effect. Unlike normal spells, overranked spells don't actually cost mana and are more akin to skills. They always have a long casting time, usually a minute or so, and you must stand still and cannot do anything else while casting them. Additionally, you can only use them a few times per day. If you're a drop-in, there really isn't a question of can you do something, so much as how do you do it today, and will you do it differently tomorrow. You're not quite on the same tier of skill as the warrior at combat, or the magic caster at magic, but you're just below both of them. Magic of the 9th tier is yours to command, and while you're not a combat beast, a warrior could be. You find that your command of both the physical and magical aspects give you range of utility and versatility no one else could boast. As a drop-in, you don't benefit from super moves or overranked magic, but in compensation your statistics are significantly better overall in the areas where the other origins would be weak. You do have one area, however, where you particularly shine. You are blisteringly fast. You could run circles around the warrior even if you couldn't beat him at swordplay, and you can certainly close the distance, or run away from a magic caster in the blink of an eye. You've also picked up a penchant for sneak attacks, and opponents that don't see you coming rarely get the opportunity to learn from that mistake. Origin perks. 1. OCP origin perks are free to their origin. All origin class skills perks scale in power, utility, potency, scope, versatility, and so forth if the Realm of Heroes was purchased earlier, and this effect is magnified even further if level 100 was purchased in order to properly reflect such lofty heights. Drop-in perks. 100 CP class skills. Drop-in, you have access to a set of class skills which represent levels that you have gained in certain different types of classes. Kind of like if you were playing an RPG, which you may very well have been doing. Pick one from the following list. The first purchase is free for drop-ins, and drop-ins get discounts on further purchases. A note on magic. All magics here are considered to be in the ranked magic system, regardless of what class they came from. Ranger. You've got the skills of a ranger. This means you're an excellent shot with a bow, decent in melee with a sword or mace, and have a particular affinity for moving through the wilds and taming animals. You've also got talent in druidic magic, but not to the same extent as an actual druid. You've also got the ability to lure monsters to you over a wide area. The more powerful you are, the larger the area that you can lure monsters in, and the more powerful monsters will respond. This does not actually create monsters out of thin air. It is entirely possible to overhunt, as it were. Great for wiping out pesky monster populations. Just starting out, you're well suited for surviving in the wilderness and off the land, easily capable of matching any regular warrior in battle, and know a handful of druidic magics to help ease your way. In the Realm of Heroes, you could track a man weeks after he'd moved through an area, assuming he used no supernatural methods to hide his tracks. And your skill with a bow and blade, or other weapon of choice, are sufficient that the mere rumor of your presence in an area is enough for tribes of intelligent monsters to steer well clear. Your druidic magics at this level are substantially stronger, able to conjure forth magical animals to serve you, control clouds, though not the climate, heal yourself and others of grievous wounds, and more. At level 100 you can track so well that unless strong supernatural protections are taken to prevent it, you could track anyone, no matter where they are in relation to you, regardless of whether or not you've actually ever seen any of their tracks. Effectively, just by thinking about the person, you can find them given a bit of time and effort. Your skills with weapons are enough that you could clear out entire provinces of powerful monsters and beasts entirely on your own, leaving small hills of such dead creatures in your wake, or alternatively you could tame such beasts and have them serve you. Your druidic magics are at their peak. You can easily control the weather, conjure forth legendary magical beasts as servitors, and influence and control nature to a considerable degree around you, though not to the same degree as an actual druid. At this level, your ability to lure monsters is so profound that you can now specify specific types of monsters, or even specific individual monsters if you know of them, to call forth into your prepared traps. Rogue. A less polite person would call you a thief, but they wouldn't be calling you that for long, especially not if they knew you had heard them. You've got the ability to pilfer things you really probably shouldn't be able to, and your skill with knives and daggers need to be seen to be believed. You're also adept at stabbing foes right in the weak points for massive damage, a form of sneak attack, you might say. You're also particularly skilled with illusionary magics to divert the attention of your foes as well as to seek out information for yourself, or protect your information from others. Just starting out, you're well suited to theft, burglary, infiltration, and the casting of magics to help facilitate such endeavors. Namely invisibility, silence, altering your appearance, and speed of movement. Such skill and abilities make it unlikely in the extreme for regular individuals to detect your actions. In the realm of heroes, however, your skill has increased to prodigious levels. You could tightrope walk across a thin wire dozens of feet in the air during a windy night, slip through even the tightest security, and place yourself easily in just the right way in order to take advantage of the openings of any enemies or foes you may encounter. Additionally, at this level your magic has branched out to the point that you can effortlessly weave complex illusions, cast flight and teleportation, though not perfectly accurate, superior forms of invisibility and silence, as well as scrying and anti-scrying efforts to better collect and protect information. Your services as its security consultant for the discretionary noble or businessman would be in considerable demand. At level 100 your skills are at their peak. You could backstab an undead for massive damage even though they don't have weak points, slip through even supernaturally empowered security efforts, hide in a man's shadow in broad daylight at high noon. And your magical abilities allow you to pilfer information as easily as they allow you to pilfer more physical things. You'll never be found unless you want to be bearing considerable efforts from similarly skilled individuals. Sorceress, swordsman. It doesn't have to be swords actually, it could just as easily be spears, or axes, or maces, or bows, or any other singular weapon type. With that one type you have a masterful level of skill, and the skills of a passable veteran in everything else. You're skilled enough to face any three of your peers and come out the victor, in sheer skill at least, though a disparity in quality of equipment may swing the odds for or against you, and being skilled won't help you if they're so fast you can't see them move, or so tough that your weapon can't hurt them. In addition, you're well knowledgeable with magic, roughly equivalent in ability to your weapon skills, and with a particular focus on buffing yourself to fight even better. Just starting out, you'll easily defeat any of your peers in melee except the truly skilled and specialized, and your magics will serve best to empower yourself or your friends, to allow you to close the gap even then. Your breadth of knowledge about so many different weapon types allows you a flexibility rarely seen in even professional soldiers and gladiators. In the realm of heroes you could effortlessly defeat entire warrior bands on your lonesome with nothing but pure skill, and your magics to empower yourself could let you come out of such encounters without so much as a single scratch, nor even a shortness of breath. At level 100 you'll be able to regularly defeat entire armies of soldiers with nothing but sheer skill alone, oftentimes while giving them a handicap of only using one arm. And your magics could empower you to such heights that if you truly pressed yourself you might rival the armies of a whole nation of regular men, assuming they were all in one place and didn't run away once they saw you get really moving. Don't think that this will trivialize a fight against a peer of equivalent level in strength without considerable effort on your part. However, broadness of skill oftentimes is trumped by specialization, for good reason after all. Bard. You are a bard. Or perhaps a skald, if you prefer more fighting than singing. Regardless of that, you tend to know a little bit about just about everything, and can usually be called upon to provide some interesting tidbit of knowledge or insight on just about any subject of note. Just starting out, you're not as good a fighter as the ranger or sorceress swordsman, or as good at exploiting the openings of enemies as a rogue, but you're not terribly bad either. Pick two weapons or types of weapons. You now have the skill of an experienced veteran in both of them. Your real bread and butter, however, is in your ability to sing, or play on instruments. Magic tunes that can be used to empower yourself and allies, or debuff and debilitate your foes. Possibly both at the same time, if you're really good. You possess a truly excellent singing voice and a masterful level of skill in just about any instrument you care to name, save for the most rare and complex, and can tell all manner of stories in an engaging manner, whether they're true or not. You also possess some skill in arcane magic, though not to the same extent as a sorceress, swordsman, and certainly not to the same extent as an actual magic caster. Your real talent is that the songs you sing and play don't really take anything out of you. So long as you can continue to play, you can continue to empower yourself and friends and depower your foes. The effects of them, however, tend to fade after about half a minute of you not singing, playing anymore. In the realm of heroes, your weapon skills are truly masterful, your singing, instrument playing, and arcane magics greatly magnified, and your songs can affect many more targets at once. Additionally, the effects of such songs now linger for several minutes after you stop singing, and are substantially more powerful. You'll also have a much broader base of knowledge to draw on. At level 100, your fighting and singing, playing skills are at their peak, a true epic in both song and form, capable of drawing applause, or perhaps tears, from even the most stone-hearted audience. Your arcane abilities are both subtle and profound, and tend best to work to strengthen and empower yours or others' efforts. You now know a lot about just about everything, potentially including even lost or hidden knowledge, and your songs can now potentially affect whole armies, and their effects might linger for hours after you've finished playing. 200 CP. Skillful and resourceful. You've got a knack for certain skills. And by certain skills, what's really meant is skills in general. If you've got a mundane chore, assignment, or task that you need to do, then 9 times out of 10 you already have the skill needed to perform it at the level of an average expert. If you don't possess that skill, then you'll probably know at least 2 or 3 related skills that can do a passable job of it anyway. This doesn't give you any supernatural skills or anything hidden, restricted, or that requires a truly extensive education, but if it's not any of those things, then you can bet good money you know it or know something similar. In addition to this, you've got a particular knack for knowing how best to use your resources to address the matter at hand, and will always possess a mental list of what resources you actually have that you can call upon. This includes human resources and things you don't actually currently have possession of but could reasonably go get or claim authority over. If you can't do it personally, or can't find someone or something that can do it for you, then it probably isn't something that can be done. 400 CP. Skillful acquisitions. You remember that part earlier about not having supernatural skills? That's where this comes in. This doesn't actually give you supernatural skills itself, but it does allow you to pick them up quickly and efficiently, assuming you have a teacher or a workable example to base yourself off of, but even if you don't, you'll eventually puzzle it out. No matter how obscure the secret handshake, how long forgotten the spell work, or how Byzantine the methodology, eventually you'll be able to perform, and then master, any skill you come across, including the supernatural ones. Innate talents, or being a Kryptonian, for example, aren't skills. This process is dramatically faster than it would otherwise be without this perk. Additionally, if you need access to a specific skill or ability right now, you can fake it. You won't actually possess the skill or ability, and it won't stand up to serious or intelligent scrutiny, but if all you need is a quick user to fool an otherwise unintelligent or unobservant individual or security system, then this will get you through. 600 CP. Unified focus. Your physical might is as your magical might, and your magical might is as your physical. The more powerful you are physically, the more powerful you will be magically. The more powerful you are magically, the more powerful you will be physically. This is not a recursive loop, it simply balances things out such that whichever is lower is raised up to the level of the higher. As you see increases to your physical or magical strength, you will see similar increases in its opposite, as they are now forever linked. There is a drawback to this, however. Things that weaken your physical strength will now also weaken your magical abilities, and things that disrupt your magics will make using your physical powers a daunting prospect at best. Warrior Perks 100 CP Class Skills. Warrior, you have access to a set of class skills which represent levels that you have gained in certain different types of classes. Kind of like if you were playing an RPG, which you may very well have been doing. Pick one from the following list. The first purchase is free for warriors, and warriors get discounts on further purchases. A note on magic: all magics here are considered to be in the ranked magic system, regardless of what class they came from. Damage focused. You're trained and skilled in one particular area, dealing damage. You have focused on a singular weapon type to the exclusion of all else. Your body can be your weapon, and are at the level of a Grand Master with it. You could easily best any 7 of your peers in sheer skill alone, though skill may not help you if the differences in equipment or physical ability are too far out of your favor. Regardless of that, however, is your sheer ability to deal raw, unrelenting damage with your chosen weapon. You'll be able to pierce through armor with it, deal devastating blows, and cause massive amounts of critical damage to your enemies. Just starting out, you'll be able to slay small groups of trained soldiers with relative ease, and so long as you're careful, you're unlikely to take any damage of note. You'll possess a number of special abilities designed for striking with more power, increasing your accuracy, dealing considerably greater critical damage, as well for determining potential weaknesses in a foe. In the realm of heroes, you could easily enough defeat the garrison of an entire castle single-handedly, and your special abilities have increased even further. Aside from more powerful versions of your previous skills, you will also possess the ability to deal wounds that resist natural healing efforts, may ignore the damage resistance of enemies. And in addition, you will have learned several methods to allow you to blow through the prepared defenses of a magic caster. At level 100, your skills are virtually unmatched when it comes to the slaying of others. You could casually defeat entire armies of men and beasts without even batting an eyelash, and even beings of legendary martial prowess will find themselves merely your peers, at best. Your special abilities are even more powerful, and additionally you may now deal wounds that prevent both natural and magical methods of healing, as well as forcing weaknesses in creatures and enemies that do not normally have them. You'll also possess the ability to strike at range well outside of melee, through either air pressure or the simple force of your martial prowess, your choice. Finally, you will have unlocked the most devastating of all direct damage abilities: the dimensional slash, or pierce, smash. With this technique you will be able to, several times per day, deliver strikes so devastating that they travel across dimensions, bypassing virtually every single defensive measure known. Armor fails, toughness fails, magic fails. Only pure skill and dodging will save your foes from this technique, and with this ability before you, virtually anything can be killed. Pointedly, it does not prevent foes from being resurrected. A damage-focused warrior benefits tremendously from also training in defense focus, as their increased knowledge and skill in defensive ability serves only to heighten their knowledge at exploiting the defenses of others. Defense-focused, you're trained and skilled in one particular area, taking damage. Whether it's because you're naturally tough, particularly skilled at wearing armor, or have masterful use of a shield, the simple fact is you can take damage like a champ and get up from hits that would leave lesser men dazed, if not dead outright. Additionally, you are particularly skilled at grabbing and maintaining the attention of your enemies, ensuring they waste their time targeting you when they could be better spending their time focusing on your less defensively skilled comrades. Just starting out, you'll have a level of skill at rolling with the hits that would leave you easily capable of taking on small groups of armed men, with nary a scratch to show for it, and oftentimes not a scratch at all. You'll possess abilities geared for gaining the attention of the enemy, even if they would normally ignore you, as well as abilities geared towards intercepting the attacks of others so that they strike at you instead of their intended target. You'll also have access to several abilities that will allow you to easily repair any damage done to your equipment. In the realm of heroes, you'll be taking on entire small armies of trained warriors, say 100 or so, and will be unlikely to be injured by them to any significant degree, potentially walking away with no injuries so long as you aren't careless. Your abilities in maintaining the attention of foes are greater, allowing you to grab the attention of many enemies at once and keep it on you with ease, as well as allowing you to easily intercept the attacks even of enemies that aren't actually nearby. Your equipment can now be fixed in the middle of battle even as it's being damaged, leaving the canny defensive fighter well suited for prolonged conflict. Additionally, at this point you will be able to set a small group of allies as being bodyguarded by you. Half of any damage they would take is transferred to you, though your defensive abilities still apply to the damage in full, meaning it is likely you won't be hurt very much if at all. At level 100 you can easily walk through entire swarms and throngs of ravenous monsters and berserker warriors and not even notice their attacks upon you. You'll be able to get and then keep until you allow them to focus elsewhere, the attention of any foe you engage, with regardless of whether